Welcome, everyone, to the Bucks County Living Podcast. I'm your host, Alex Neff, your real estate resource. Today, I am joined by the Assistant General Manager and Communications Director of WBCB Radio, AM 1490 and FM 107.3, Matt Mirro. Good morning, Matt. How are you?
Alex, I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for coming out. I'm really excited to talk about you and talk about WBCB because you guys are like the Levittown Station. When I was telling everybody that I was having somebody from WBCB come out, they were like, "Oh yeah, the Levittown Station," and I was like, "I can't believe it. How long have I gone? I've gone all these years without like knowing that it was called the Levittown Station." Yeah. And I'm really excited to kind of jump into your story and talk about WBCB. So, what is WBCB? What does it stand for, and what do you guys do?
No, so we're a community radio station, as you mentioned, based in Levittown. Been there since the late 1950s, and a large portion of what we do now, and what kind of made us synonymous all these years, is we really made sure it was community first and kind of went out from there. So we started in Levittown and just kind of builded our audience, from there. School lunch menus, school closings, that was like the things that were synonymous with us in the 70s and 80s and even up to the 90s. We would bring students in from local schools, and they would like read books on the radio, and these simple kind of niche things that really ingrained us into a community like Bucks County, which you're aware is so unique and tight knit. And now, as the 21st century has rolled around, we've really kind of rolled into video streaming, podcasting, as you are as well. High school sporting events, are linking with our professional sports teams in Philadelphia, but always kind of keeping that community feel. Most stations our size are normally automated content, nearly 24 hours a day, and we're live and local almost the entire day. That's kind of made us very unique and has been able to provide throughout recessions and different economies and everything.
So would you say that that's one of the main things that makes WBCB so unique? Because I didn't know that most of the other radio stations are like all automated,
yeah, right,
or the pre-recorded content. You guys have a lot of live stuff, right?
Correct. Yeah. Financially, it's hard for stations our size to continue live and local programming. So a lot of them across the country, you'll see our size. There's so many options for national sports or music or all these things, and they're cheap to produce and put on the air. So a lot of stations our size will just easily do that. Our ownership team, luckily, who voiced the Eagles, Merrill Reese, and Pat Deanna, born and bred Bucks County resident, have been able to provide us the resources to make sure that never happens. And I think that's what has kept us kind of relevant throughout these years, is that we haven't really ever done that. And we're a Phillies affiliate and Eagles affiliate. We've always tried to keep everything local, with our radio station.
That's great. I didn't know that you would read like the school lunch menu.
We did, yes. Yeah, if you find like is someone here at Berkshire between the ages of like 45 and 55 and mention BCB and they know it, it's like the first thing I hear is school lunch menus or school closings.
Wow.
It's like I see people at least once a week when I mention where I work, and that's the first thing that comes out of their mind, is that they would get up in the morning and that's how they knew. And this kind of went like through the 2000s. It was like pretty like I can remember like I started as an intern back in like 2008 or 9, and they were still doing it. So yeah, every day, every Bristol, you would know what you were going to eat that day via BCB. Wow. Yeah.
Does Mom have to pack lunch today, or does the lunch lady get to feed me?
Yeah, correct.
Is it Mystery Meat Monday, or do we get something good?
Exactly.
Wow. So what other kind of proud partnerships do you have within Bucks County? Because I know you do a lot of the local high school sports and things like that. What are some proud partnerships that you got?
Yeah, so I've been a part of Lower Bucks County Chamber of Commerce. Actually, Susan Harkin over there just told me like a week or so ago, I think we're one of the longest tenured businesses of the Lower Bucks County Chamber of Commerce. So we partner with Lower Bucks County Chamber of Commerce. We have a great relationship with the United Way of Bucks County, and then over there, Big Brother, Big Sister. Everything you can think of community-based, we really try and have our hand in it as much as possible, because we understand that's how most individuals, just from networking, yourself, very rarely am I going to get a lot of business from people that I'm just asking for money. It's kind of the opposite. When I can ask for, can I provide something for you, or if there's something you want to promote or resources that we can utilize, I think that kind of works better, and it has for us at least.
Yeah, for sure. How did you actually get into the radio business? Because, sometimes it just depends on your perspective, right?
Yeah.
Radio is really, it's difficult to keep up with like all the streaming stuff and Pandora and Apple Music and Spotify, so how do you guys kind of keep up with the times, and how did you get into the radio business?
Yeah, so I got into it. I played sports my whole life, and I thought a nice pivot to that would be to be on the radio and talk sports, and I thought that's like a job that I could do for 30, 40 years, and I listened to it growing up. So I went to college, Temple University, and majored in it. And I worked in the Philadelphia market for about a year or two, and I was working part-time at WBCB. And then I just kind of pivoted back locally after that, and always pivoted myself as well. So I wanted to be on the air. I wanted to be a sports talk radio host, 2 to 6 p.m. in Philadelphia for the next 30 years. And it was hard to do. So I always pivoted, and I went to producing, and then I went to program directing, and I kind of went to sales and running a station. So I always pivoted, similar as you mentioned, kind of as radio has. That was kind of my way I went about it, was from on air to running a radio station, and then BCB, with everything going on. We were actually one of the first stations in the country that did internet streaming back in like 2000. When that was like very big, when you could like listen to your favorite radio station on your laptop or like your PC or whatever it was. We were one of the first stations in the entire country to do that. And that was very marketable then. Like you could take us anywhere. And then about 7 or 8 years ago, we noticed video streaming was becoming, enormous. So we started, buying equipment and putting a lot of our inventory into that. Well, now like we video stream, I think 95% of our content on Facebook Live, fully produced in our website, high school sporting events, pro sports shows, all kinds of things. And recently, now with podcasts and quick audio archives being, what's been in vogue now, as you mentioned, we kind of utilize that for all of our content, where you can go to our website, and if you miss a show at 10 o'clock on a Wednesday, you can go back and listen to it on a Thursday afternoon or a Saturday morning, whatever it is. So we've had to pivot like every other median, just my time being here in 10 years, when I started, it was really just 3 medians. It was like, you want to write for a newspaper, you want to be in radio, you want to be on TV. And that was kind of it. Bloggers and podcasters I looked at like they were in their parents' basements or booger eaters. They just they were not marketable 10 years ago. And now there's, with Spotify and Pandora, there's some serious money to be made if you have a podcast or an audio content that the masses enjoy. So now I tell people you'd be dumb not to do that. Whereas 10 years ago, people thought, I don't know if it's a value of your time, and you're kind of doing this thing. It doesn't really do a lot. And it really exploded within the last 4 to 6 years. So we've had to pivot, just like every other median, with the changing in the audience and the demographic and everything. Yeah,
I think it's really important to highlight that, for if you don't bend, you break, right?
Exactly.
And it's so important to remain fluid in any kind of business,
sure,
in my mind, because if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But if you don't continue to upgrade or update your business model, it's probably going to end up falling apart.
Well, just your business as well. I look at real estate and realtors. And maybe COVID was a part of this, but the way you sell yourself, I think, is very unique and good. And I can't remember before 4 years ago where realtors were walking through houses with their phones and just showing a house. You had to wait until a Saturday or a Thursday, or when pictures went online. And now these houses are going live on Thursday, and I'm seeing real estate agents walk through Friday morning, showing the whole house. And it just wasn't heard of 3 or 4 years ago. So yeah, I think you're 100% right. And not just my business, like you said, your sector and a lot of others.
Yeah, exactly. Now, what with WBCB, you said Merrill Reese is part of the ownership, and Pat Dion, the Bucks County guy. What other things do you do? Because I know you have individual spotlights for different kinds of businesses around Bucks County or just around the local area. So Under the Hood, right, with Fred, that's 9 a.m. every Thursday with Fletcher's Garage, with Fred Fletcher from Fletcher's Garage, Under the Hood, which good friend of ours.
Yes.
What other kind of episodes or video spots do you guys do?
So what we try to do is highlight everything that an individual listening to us may be going through. So we have a we had a Medicare show throughout open enrollment for individuals trying to go through the Medicare process, the open enrollment process. We have a funeral show. It's kind of like unique to hear out loud. When you're planning a funeral, like the do's and don'ts, how to adjust your financial budget. We have a financial advisor show. We have a security show with Neil Flax of BI Security Systems, where he just give you do's and don'ts on how to protect your business or home. We try and do a variety of things to where if individuals listening to us, we can inform them, enlighten them, and kind of educate them and entertain them. And that's what Fred does with his show on Thursdays. So we try and find every sector we can that the individual listening to us may be going through and help them with small to medium-sized businesses here in Bucks County.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love that. Because it sounds like you guys the idea behind starting this radio station was just to be a resource in the community.
Correct.
And that is one of the reasons I feel like we kind of hit it off when we met, just because it's you want to do the same thing. You just want to be a resource in the community and just continue to help people. And when you help others, the dollars follow.
Correct. Yeah, I think it's way easier to go about that way, the way you do it, where you want to inform and give them as just options, as opposed to banging them over the head for money. Right. I mean, don't get me wrong. We have to make money. We have to be able to provide myself and our staff and our ownership group stay in the black as best as we can. But being a resource, I think, like as you mentioned, I think that part of it will follow. And it's really easy to do that. I mean, the videos that you put up and the things that we do, it's a little extra work that I think can go a really long way.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. So next, I like to move into a section called the Big Three.
Okay.
So the Big Three are the questions that I ask everybody that comes onto the podcast. So my first question for you, Matt, is what do you think makes Bucks County such a great place to live?
And we were talking about this before we went kind of live. I think I took advantage for a lot of the portions of it that when I was younger or as a teenager and adolescence, that being in this unique area. It's so historic. You can ski in an hour and a half. You can go to the beach an hour and a half. So I get, I have kids now. I think to myself how much I've been spoiled living here when I can go in a 20-minute ride and see where Washington crossed, into Trenton in that area. I can go to restaurants right on River Road that is up in Washington Crossing and Bowman's Tower, all these unique places that have historical value, not just locally, but in our entire country with the Revolution. And I took advantage of that, I think, for a really long time, just growing up here, whether it's Pennsbury Manor, all these different unique places. So I try to really enjoy that now with my children because I think it's important, because there's a lot of places in the entire country that have none of this, and we're so lucky that we have a lot of it. So I think the historic elements, really cool. I think it's neat that we're in a county that you can get to Center City, if depending on where you live, in 20 minutes. You can do Doylestown in 20 minutes. The social and economic differences make this area really unique. So yeah, all of that. But the historic element is something that I really tried to value recently, because I think I took advantage of it for 25, 30 years. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. That's definitely one of the best answers that we get, is just that there's so much historical value.
Yeah.
And it really is such a beautifully unique place to live.
It is, yeah.
Awesome. What is your favorite restaurant in Bucks County?
You want to go first, or you already did this?
I eat at a lot of restaurants. So
give me yours, and then I'll pivot off that.
It just depends on what I'm in the mood for.
So I'll give you two. Yes, I'll give you two. I'll give you Di Lorenzo's in Yardley, which has been there for about 3 or 4 years now. My wife and I used to drive to Robbinsville once a month before it opened there to get their pizza. So that is a quick, easy staple for us. We will go there easily 3 or 4 times a month with our children. It's the first place we take our children out to eat when they're born. So it's very unique and special to us. So Di Lorenzo's in Yardley definitely is I could go there anytime. My favorite cuisine, I think, is Asian fusion or Chinese. So I like Oishi in Newtown. It's Japanese. Food. It's Japanese. They have the is it KO or how do you say it?
I say KO.
Okay. It's the sister or brother restaurant of that. But we'll go there as well. Very, very often. Oishi in Newtown is probably my go-to. But we go all over. I was in New Hope 2 weeks ago with my wife at a restaurant. We'll go to Washington Crossing, everywhere. But those are probably my two staples.
Yeah. Awesome. I love their Di Lorenzo's thin and crisp pizza.
It's tremendous. It's fantastic. Does a really good job.
I tried the pepperoni there, and it changed my life.
Really?
It was different than any other kind of pepperoni pizza I'd ever had. That's a conversation.
We go sausage and cherry pepper.
Ooh,
it's a tremendous pie. And then they do the
that.
the clam pie is something you have to.
Clam pie is special.
It's tremendous. If
Clam
you
pie is
listen to this podcast, if there's anything you remember, is it go get a clam pie. Forget that's important. It's very important.
And my last question, Matt, is where can people find out more about you and WBCB?
Yeah, so we're on Facebook, WBCB Sports, and then also our radio station, WBCB 1490 AM, where we promote all of our content, where we'll be, what we're doing, and then our website, WBCB1490.com. That gives you a rundown of like our broadcast schedule, what you can listen to, what you can see, all of our high school sporting events, all of our pro shows. We have 2 Eagles shows, 2 Phillies shows, a Flyers-centric show, and it gives you the breakdown, the information of where we'll be and guests we have on. We have former Flyers on, all season. We have former Eagles on or current Eagles on all season, and we have over 200 high school athletic events, all listed there, for you to enjoy from your laptop or your iPhone at home anytime you want. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Matt. I really appreciate everything that you do for the community and continue to do for the community day in, day out, and really just kind of bring Bucks County and Levittown on the map and really highlight some of the local beauty in our area.
Yeah.
So make sure to tune in to WBCB AM 1490 or FM 107.3. And as always, I'm your host, Alex Neff. Make sure to reach out if you have any questions about Bucks County living.